Miami caught that Rico. Dallas caught that Rico. You know what, Jets? You're going to catch that Rico next week, too. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Listen, hey, Rico Dowdle is the Carolina Panthers' #1 running back.
He is right now.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about this win. Let's get this sucker started.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews, locker room insight. Let's huddle up for Panthers Playbook. Presented by Wake Orthopedics, a Wake Med physician practice. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's Chris Lea, Dennis Cox here with you. Panthers Playbook sponsored by Wake Orthopedics. And we need you folks to not only hit that subscribe button, but we need you to leave your thoughts, man. This Panthers team is 3-3. 30-27 win over the Dallas Cowboys. And there were some moments in there, Chris, where I thought, well, look at that. The Carolina Panthers still couldn't get out of their own way. And there definitely were those moments, but they were able to overcome themselves. And I guess, for lack of a better term, Chris, because there were some pretty questionable decisions late in the game, some questionable execution, but they still got it done thanks to number 5, Rico Dowdle.
First time this team is 3-3 since 2021 with Matt Rule. The team started off 3-0, then they lost 3 straight, and a few more after that.
Several more after that.
But, wow, what a game. And this is the type of game against the type of team. I don't know if Dallas is a playoff team or not. Their defense is very bad, but they're definitely the #1 offense in the league. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those games where the Carolina Panthers can look back and say, we did this, we put it together. And a lot of it is because of number 5, Rico Dowdle.
Yep.
I didn't say this last week, but it was something that I was wondering that I said out loud to you, that last week had to have been the best offensive production for a Carolina Panthers player who was also a North Carolina native.
That's true.
And now we have back-to-back weeks of that. Mm-hmm. And it's the first time in 55 years that an undrafted free agent has had over 200 yards from scrimmage in back-to-back games. Rico Dowdle is absolutely on a heater right now. Last week I was like, hey, hold the phone. Let's wait till we have Chuba Hubbard coming back and, we can use them back-to-back, 1-2 punch. I'm sorry, Chuba, your calf injury means that Rico Dowdle is the #1 guy.
Especially if he keeps playing like this.
He needs that 15 to 18 range for touches, and we'll have to see what happens with Chuba Hubbard. I still want Chuba Hubbard on my team. Mm-hmm. That is one heck of a #2. I mean, you're talking about really 1A, 1B in that situation. But I think this game absolutely proved in a very losable game, by the way.
Yeah.
Every time the Carolina Panthers step on the field, it's very, very, very losable. But the Panthers went out and won this, and it was all thanks to Rico Dowdle and his great running. And then also, look, shout-outs to Bryce Young. You took care of the ball. The stats are going to say 1 interception. That interception is not on Bryce Young.
No.
But shout-outs to Bryce Young as well for the game-managing type of job that he had.
So Rico Dowdle had 239 total yards. The Panthers offensively had 410. That's 58.3%. 58.3, and that was on par with what he had last week in terms of total yards and percentage wise. That's pretty much what he had last week as well in the win against Miami. That's what he has literally has carried this offense over the last 2 weeks, and I think that's the thing about it is that you've played against a couple of bad defenses in Miami and Dallas, but you still had to go out there and play and get it done.
Oh yeah,
you still had to. Now, there are definitely some question marks about, what this game could have been. Like, for example, Chris, after Dallas scores a touchdown, you call a timeout after a first down play that gets you to 2nd and 3, and you're burning a timeout early in the 3rd quarter, and you're going backwards. Same thing on another possession later on. You have to burn a timeout. You have a false start and everything. You're going backwards, and you take a sack, and it's like, well, wait a second. You have a chance to extend your lead or build on your game, and you don't do it. Now, thankfully, again, Dallas is not a good defensive team, and on 4th down and 3, Hunter Renfrow gets that awesome catch on 4th and Renfrow, but as Greg Olsen pointed out, why is the defense playing 8 yards off when it's 4th down and 3, 4th down and 4? Again, you got to take advantage of it. So nonetheless, Carolina, even despite their own mistakes and miscues, it didn't come back to bite them. And I think this is what we talked about last week, Chris. There's growing pains, but there's still growth. There's one thing to have just pain, because we've felt that with this Panthers team before, but there's growing pains, and the key word part of that is growth, Chris. And that's something we are starting to see a little bit with this squad is growth.
This is 2 weeks in a row where the Carolina Panthers lose the turnover battle and still able to get a win.
Yeah.
And, how do you win the turnover battle? Well, a big part of it, or how do you win if you lose the turnover battle, what I should have said. Part of that is making sure that you're winning on the ground and you're winning with rushing yards. And so Rico Dowdle is a big part of that. And I said this numerous times at the beginning of the year, this team wasn't good enough to overcome a turnover. They're starting to become that way, at least with the bottom half of the league. I'll say that, right? Like, I don't know if you do this against the Buffalo Bills or if you do this against Kansas City, who's, probably somewhere in the middle, but still a dynamic offense. I don't know if you still are able to squeak out a win if you lose a turnover battle. But all the little things are starting to be done right. I also want to give a shout out to the defense. Absolutely stepped up, kept Dallas to 292 total, right?
Run defense was awesome. Run defense was awesome.
Last year, Dallas came in our trap, took over our trap, and had over 500 yards. Yeah, it was a really, really, really bad outing for the Carolina Panthers last year.
It's because they had Rico Dowdle, Chris.
They had Rico Dowdle.
Because they had
Rico Dowdle
because they had Rico Dowdle.
Well. They also had Micah Parsons, and they also had CeeDee Lamb, who was healthy. So let's not talk about that, because health was also an issue in this game too. But like on the ground, still another game where you hold a team to under 35 yards rushing, 31 yards rushing for Dallas.
Yeah.
And I've always heard this from great coaches, whether it's in the NFL, whether it's on a college level. Shout outs to Rod Broadway, who kept saying this. Shout outs to Sam Washington, two guys that I've spoken to a lot who were coaches at North Carolina A&T. They're like, hey, the best way to win a game is to run the ball and stop the run. And that's exactly what ended up happening in this game. And you give yourself a chance to win 30-27. And shout outs to the defense for stopping the run. We got some more to talk about with the defense. I don't want to jump ahead of myself right here. But there's still some questions that need to be answered on defense as well.
You know what? Let's bring that up. Bring that up.
Let's go.
Let's be honest. I thought some Dallas's on their Dallas's final drive, some of their play calling was pretty questionable. Like, let's try these check down screens to Javonte Williams. I'm like, no, you've been cooking them downfield all game. Why are you running these check downs and these screen passes?
Yes.
It didn't make any sense. Like, Dallas hurt themselves in that regard, and they never got the ball back. Because, again, shout out to Carolina on that final drive. But we say this, it's week in and week out, Chris. Why isn't J.C. Horn consistently following the other team's number one receiver? Even if you're running a zone defense, why isn't he over there? I'm sorry, Mike Jack got cooked today. He did.
He got flambéed. He got grilled. He got sauteed.
Sous vide, the whole deal. Grilled.
All of it.
I mean, broiled, the whole deal. Like, however you want to describe it. I don't want to pile on the guy, but I mean, George Pickens gets 168 yards, and it felt like, you know what? If they just kept throwing the ball to George Pickens, it could have been more. And again, not all those receptions came against Mike Jack. I totally get that, but it's still the same question is brought up week after week after week. I mean, this defense still gave up 27.
Yeah.
Like they still gave up 27.
Yeah.
I understand that Panthers scored 30, but you still gave up 27. That's not sustainable. Just ask the Dallas Cowboys how sustainable that is. Because Dallas is constantly in these games. So my question going forward is still, what are we doing on defense? Still 0 sacks again today? 0? I know you had 3 last week against the Dolphins, but again, the Dolphins are not a good team. Definitely not a good offense. But we still have the same questions on defense, though, under Ejiro Evero.
Yeah, as far as the sacks portion of it, Dak Prescott, you talk about a quarterback that gets rid of the ball. The reason why Bryce Young got sacked one time is because he didn't get rid of the ball, right?
Yeah.
And so Dak Prescott is going to get rid of the ball. He's good when it comes to that. George Pickens, 9 receptions, 168 yards. Remember, Dallas had 261. You talk about Rico Dowdle having over 50% of the offensive output for Carolina. That's what George Pickens was for the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody else really stepped up. And, at some point you got to look at it. If I'm a defensive coordinator and saying that, like, if it weren't for this one guy, everybody else really isn't doing much against us at all. So how do we stop this one guy? We praised the coaching staff last week about putting everybody in the positions to win. We talked about the switch with the green dot. Now you take that off of Christian Roseboom. You give it to Trevin Wallace. He has it now, and all of a sudden they look a little bit better. You just paid J.C. Horn in the offseason. That contract doesn't kick into next year, but he, at the time, before other people ended up getting signed, was the highest paid corner ever in the NFL.
Yep.
And you're not putting him against Dallas's best wide receiver. I do not get it. That is something I can't for the life of me. I don't know if there's any explanation that just makes it right, because if I know the Carolina Panthers are going to do that, and we're going to have our number 2 on J.C. Horn and our number 1 on Mike Jack. Yeah. Mike Jack, you're going to get picked on every single time. And at a certain point, you just have to throw something different to other offenses so that they can keep guessing. Right now, any team that's looking at the Carolina Panthers, they're going to look at it and see, okay, our number 1 guy, this is wherever Mike Jack is, that's where you're going to line up. And
which is easy to pick out. It's always on the field side. That's it. He's going to line up on the field side.
And that's the crazy part about this. And so, like, this very well could have been a blowout for the Carolina Panthers. We said that last week too. They should have blown out the Miami Dolphins. They ended up coming back and getting the win. This could have been a blowout, because let's say if you stop George Pickens, if he only has, let's say, 80 yards, which is still a really good night out in the office, if you're a wide receiver, that's half of what he ended up having. This game looks completely different for the Dallas Cowboys in this game. Yes, they're going to make their scores. They're going to make their plays and things like that. But this game is a little bit more lopsided towards the Carolina Panthers, if that were the case.
And props on George Pickens' touchdown. Dallas, they went to the line of scrimmage quick. They caught Carolina with the personnel that they had on their field, and here's George Pickens being guarded by Mike Jackson. Quick, like, that was too easy. A quick slant for a touchdown like that on a quick slant.
Yeah,
just a catch and run on a quick slant. That was way too easy.
Horrible tackling, very soft defense, all of that. Like, it's just some of the things that we've talked about before came out in this game, but luckily they were able to hold things down when they needed to make the plays. On that defensive line, man, I think the money has been very well spent. Bobby Brown had a really good game. Derrick Brown had a really good game. A'Shawn Robinson had a really good game. I thought that Princely Umamielen and Nick Scorton and Pat Jones had flashes in this. They still are not getting to the quarterback or pressuring the quarterback enough, as you brought up earlier. And also, maybe some of that is defensive scheme too. Like, are they running enough stunts? That's something that you brought up a lot last year.
Yeah.
Are they doing enough stunts and twists and things to kind of put pressure on that offensive line? But otherwise, I think this defense really stepped up. Roseboom and Wallace are flying to the ball. I think Lathan Ransom flying to the ball. Trayvon Merrick. What an offseason pickup. We haven't really had a chance to talk about him a lot this season, but like, I don't even see him as a safety anymore. This is a 4-3 defense when he's basically coming up as the, like, inside linebacker position. Like, he's making plays, and the defense is starting to come together. I just still worry about the decision-making overall coming from up top. And it does feel in some cases, and today was one of the cases, that the players are winning despite the coaches.
Yes.
In some ways.
Yes.
In some ways, coaches have done a good job the last couple of weeks, but also there's other ways where the players are just like, we just got to go make this play.
Yep. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. The coaching staff still has major questions in terms of decision-making and things along those lines. Like we mentioned Evero when it comes to the decision to not let J.C. Horn travel with the opposing team's top receiver. And it's not like they had CeeDee Lamb today. They also didn't have Turpin either. So they're down 2 of their top 3 guys. Like you said, Chris, there was one. And also you got to worry about tight end Jake Ferguson. But in terms of receivers, one, just one, including, again, on offensively, Dave Canales having to burn a timeout, second play of a drive late in the third quarter. Carolina, Dave Canales, again, hopefully it didn't come back to bite him, and thankfully that it didn't. And then also you mentioned as well about how just the other, timeouts and stuff that were burned. Like they get a stop, like for example, they got to stop on defense when you're up 20-17, but you have a bad, false start sack. And then anyway, we can go on a little bit more about that, but nonetheless, this coaching staff still has put this team as a whole in not the greatest positions. And as you just said, they're having to win in spite of themselves.
Yeah.
That's the thing that concerns me going forward about this win. Hey, I'll take 3-3. I'll take 3-3.
Absolutely.
But the question is going forward is it sustainable? Well, you actually have to start playing a good team. If you try to do that, what you did today against the Buffalo Bills, it's probably not going to happen. Even though Buffalo's defense is still shaky in and of itself, but it's probably not going to happen against Buffalo. It's an overall better team.
Yeah, and then of course you have to contend with Josh Allen, and that's going to be a guy that's going to be very hard to contain.
And can you win on the road? Can you win on the road?
That's going to be the other part because, I was saying here in the office, because obviously we're supposed to be down at the game, we couldn't make it down to the game.
Yeah, we cannot make it today
because of circumstances. But one of the things I was saying here in the office is they get blown out on the road. For some reason, the game does not travel, and we heard from Dave Canales he loves the road games because he feels like he gets extra time with the guys, But at home, they're just playing. It looks like 2 completely different teams. If you put the tape of the Carolina Panthers on the road this year next to the tape of the Carolina Panthers at home this year, you'd think that it's 2 different years. Was this the Carolina Panthers last year on the road? And is this the Carolina Panthers this year at home? It's really 2 different teams. So that's going to be the next step right there. We talked about the sleep regression last week. Can you now win on the road? And you have a good chance to do that next week when you go play against one of the worst teams in the NFL, probably the worst team in the NFL, who's 0-6, the New York Jets.
Yep.
And now one of the things that you can set up with that, so many different things that can happen here. 1, a road win, because you don't have that yet this year. 2, I'm guessing you should go into that game being the favorite. More than likely, right?
More than likely, they should be.
This would be probably the first time you're going into a game as the favorite, taking away the extra cushion of points that you get for being at home, right? So you should go in there and win that game, and then you string together 3 straight wins if you're able to do that. Carolina Panthers have not done that, and we referred to this time since 2021 when they started off the year winning 3 straight times, and then they just lost a bunch after that. So there's a lot for this team to look at and to grow towards. And that is a goal. If I'm Dave Canales, that's one of the things I'm pointing out this week. Guys, we can string together 3 straight wins. All of a sudden, we're going to be over 500 for the first time again since 2021. We're going to have a 3-game win streak for the first time since 2021. And we're going to have our first road one this year. A lot of things that can be accomplished just because you were able to get 2 big wins straight back-to-back at home last week and then this week. How do you step up? Also,
Jets are winnable. Jets are winnable. They got Bills and at Packers, which are those are going to be dogfights. You got to get the wins where you can.
Let me say this.
Okay.
I don't know what happens at the end of the year with Bryce Young or Dave Canales, right? We have a lot of season left to go.
Sure.
And there's a lot that can be determined and a lot that can end up happening between now and then. But if one or both of those guys aren't with the Carolina Panthers next year, you have to keep Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan, if you look at all of the Dallas Cowboys have some differences in their team as well. They had a coaching change. They're also missing Micah Parsons. There's some differences in both teams. But the way how lopsided this game was last year, and the Dallas Cowboys weren't good last year.
No, they weren't.
How
and let's not
lopsided
forget Dak Prescott did not play in last year's game.
How lopsided, you're right. How
Yeah.
lopsided it was last year, and then you come back this year and you see in all the guys that he brought in, you're talking about a decent game from Jimmy Horn, and then you have a crucial fourth down catch from Hunter Renfrow. Teteroa McMillan, shout outs to him. We haven't even had a chance to talk about him. First 2 touchdown catches of his career, and it came today. Rico Dowdle, you brought him in. Defense, Trayvon Merrick, Bobby Brown. Luckily, we have a healthy Derrick Brown. And like all the moves that Dan Morgan made came into play for today. Like it's the same coaching staff, same quarterback, all that. The moves from the offseason really, really helped out and made this game absolutely flip. This was not the same Carolina Panthers team that the Dallas Cowboys saw last year. So whatever happens for the rest of the year, Dan Morgan has done his job. I do believe, shout outs for Bryce Young, I do believe a better quarterback would have had a better outcome. I'm not trying to rag on Bryce Young at all. That interception was not his fault.
Nope.
At all. But he is still too afraid to let it go, to let it fly. And there's a couple times on replays, we could see it better in person. There's a couple times on replays, he had some guys open. This is the NFL. They were NFL open. If you're an accurate quarterback in processing the way that we were told that you can, let it fly and get there. That's all I got to say.
Hey, and the O-line held up today. They only had one sack. They only had the
one
one
sack.
sack. That's it. Also props in the running game to the offensive line as well.
Sure did.
But yeah, it should be I don't know. There are still a lot of questions again going forward about what can this team sustain from what they've done the last 2 weeks? Like, can you anticipate that Rico Dowdle is going to have 200 plus total yards every single week? I don't think that's a sustainable thing. There's a reason why he's the first undrafted running back or undrafted player since 1970 to go back-to-back weeks with 200 plus yards from scrimmage. But also as well,
amen.
The T-Mac, the drops, they actually played a negative factor into today as well. And also Xavier Legette.
Yeah, what was that, bro? What was that? What was that?
Chris, we should probably talk about this on Thursday.
What was that?
We need to have a serious conversation about Xavier Legette. We really do. And especially with Jalen Coker coming back into the mix, we need to have a serious conversation about XL. I want that dude to be successful. I really do.
I will say this. Dallas got away with a few things here and there. He probably would have had more catches, but they were absolutely their secondary was kind of getting cooked as well. So
they were.
But yes, that little lateral thing, like I don't know what that was.
And then actually Rico Dowdle fumbled as well on that same play, and luckily that Xavier Legette actually jumped on the ball. It was
a good punch out. I can't even put that on him. But last thing I'll leave you with is this. We got to figure out a way to retain Rico Dowdle. I'm pretty sure that on his heater, him and his agent are going to be like, we got to get paid. Okay. If I'm Dan Morgan, I'm going to try everything I can to talk right now.
Yep.
Hey, if you don't want to sign right now, I get it. But if you do want to sign right now, let's talk. Let's figure it out, because you can have a home here. You see what you just did? We're going to give you a great opportunity, and you're close to home. You went to AC Reynolds. That's close by. Like, come on. Come on now.
Make it happen.
Make it happen, Dan.
Again, you also make it happen in the comment section. Let us know your thoughts on this one as well.
Keep
pounding.
Keep
pounding. Shout out to Wake Orthopedics, our sponsor here at Panthers Playbook. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Again, Rico Dowdle. You know what? I have a new nickname. I have a nickname right here for Rico Dowdle. Rico Uno. Rico Uno. Rico Uno, because he's RB1, baby. He's RB1. Rico Uno. Acknowledge him. Acknowledge him.
Acknowledge him. Acknowledge.